Today, I'm going to be showing you step by step how you can submit your cards to PSA to turn this into something like this. Oh my gosh. So we'll be going through step by step, covering every part of the process, from filling out the submission form to researching your cards and their value to what key factors affect a card's grade, and of course everything that you need to ship those cards out. And you're gonna want to stick around because we'll be heading to PSA headquarters to chat with the team about everything that goes into card grading, some best practices to make it simple and easy, and give you some tips on how to get the highest grades possible. I figured we'd all benefit from that. So first order of business before we actually get into filling out that submission form would be to, of course, select the cards that you want to send in to get graded. And at the end of today's video, we're actually going to be revealing the grades for all 5 of these cards. I'm excited. We got some good ones in here. But after you selected the cards that you want, let's go ahead and talk about some of the factors that might affect the card's grade. And then this will actually help us estimate the value that this card might be to help us pick our service level when we go to submit our cards. So there's 4 different general areas that card graders look at: the surface of the card, the edges, the corners, and also the centering. So take a look at all of those areas on the card. Obviously, the grader is going to look at the entire card. Those are the key categories that they do base the grade off of. When you're looking at a card centering, check to see if there's an equal amount of the border on the right and left side of the card, and also on the top and the bottom. So in this case, we're going to take a look at our yellow borders and see if they are about the same amount on each side of the card. I'm going to put an example on the screen of a card that would be considered off-center just to give you an idea. And by the way, this does apply to the front and the back of the card, so take a look at both. For PSA standards, your card can actually be slightly off-center, up to a 60-40 ratio on the front and a 75-25 on the back, and still be considered for a Gem Mint 10 if there's nothing else wrong with the card. So cards aren't always printed perfectly centered, and this is something that obviously was totally out of your control when you got the card. But that will affect the actual final grade of the card, just so you're aware. So try to search for those cards that are perfectly centered, or just know that it might get a lower grade if it is not centered. For edges and corners, you're gonna wanna take a look, and this is on the front and the back. It's easier to show on the back though. Take a look at all of the edges here and also all 4 corners of the cards and see if there are any signs of edge wear or any damage to the card there. I brought my boys Doug Trio, but this is an example here of cards that do have edge wear and wear to the corners on them. So you'll see like anything like this is definitely something that they would take note of, just so you're aware. Also, as we're going through this, PSA also has a full breakdown of basically every PSA grade and what the qualifications are to achieve that grade. So I'll leave those resources for you in the description as well, but just so you know, it is most of the stuff that we are talking about here. And the last note here is on the surface, any sort of scratches, print lines, dents, anything like that. I have other examples. So something like this, where on first glance looks like it's pretty flawless, but upon moving it into the right light, you can see quite a few scratches right there on the surface of that card. So any scratches on the surface of the card, any dents, any blemishes, any weird stuff on the surface. But all things considered, take a look at these 4 categories on your card, and you'd be looking at a PSA 9 or 10 if you don't really see much wrong with the card at all, a PSA 8 if you have a couple different small flaws on the card, and then a PSA 7 down is where you start to see some noticeable wear on multiple facets of the card. And for the record, your PSA 1s are gonna look like they went through the washing machine. I've also found that if you're looking for the nitty-gritty details, bring out your phone camera. So yeah, I would recommend taking a look under some good lighting. So just a little tip there, if you do want to use your flashlight. If you happen to have a magnifying glass, go crazy. Okay, so now that we know what our card's grade might be, we are going to go ahead and quickly research here what the estimated value of those cards might be, so that we can figure out the exact service level that we need to pick to send in those cards. So for looking up a card's value, you're going to want to check the recent sales on various marketplaces. Obviously online there are a ton of different places where people buy and sell Pokemon cards. Some of the key places that you're going to want to look might include eBay, Heritage Auctions, Golden Auctions, Fanatics, any of those places where they sell Pokemon cards. You can check. I found the most easy and convenient resource for this is a website called 130point.com. So I'll put this in the description as well. There's going to be quite a few resources in the description, but I'll put this in the description as well. 130point.com/cards. It essentially aggregates the sales data from all of those places I just listed. And when you search for your card, like say Blaine's Charizard, first edition, 9. We'll be on the conservative side here. It'll basically just populate all of the recent sold listings for that card at that grade. Now you will want to just double check the listing and make sure it's for that exact card, because every once in a while one sneaks in here that's maybe not a first edition or it's at a different grade. But I think this website actually does a really good job of sifting through and finding the exact card that you're talking about. So you'll basically want to take a look at these recent listings. And once again, these are coming from different marketplaces or auction platforms. Just take a look at those recent sold listings and kind of make an average. So on top of it being an estimate on the grade, you will be kind of like also getting an average, like an estimate of the price as well. And obviously this card might come back as a 10, so you can also look up the price as a 10. Another thing I wanted to note here is that there's really no harm in underestimating your card's value. This is truly a guess based on what you think the card's grade is going to be, because you don't know yet. So if I think this Charizard is going to get a 9 or a 10 and I put the value of the 9, the worst thing that's going to happen is if it does get a 10 and it gets bumped up to the next service level that costs more, I'll just have to pay the difference in that cost. But your estimation here will in no way affect how PSA actually grades your card. Like, they're not going to see the price you estimated and then decide to give you a lower grade or something. So you can go ahead and look here, get a good idea of the potential value for that card. And then once you have that information, now it's time to head over to PSA to actually get started on that submission form. So if this is your first time submitting with PSA, you will need to make an account. It's super quick, super easy. So go ahead and make your account. We're going to go up to the top here and hit submit. You can go ahead and hit new submission here. And also, by the way, if this is your first time sending cards into PSA, it is your lucky day, because you're going to get $25 off your submission, essentially like a free grade. More information on that in a minute, but I'll include the coupon code in the description. You literally just get free 25 bucks just because. Welcome to PSA. All right, so we're going to go ahead and select our item type. Obviously, you can see here there's quite a few options. You can send in your packs, you can send in coins, you can send in oversized cards. For the sake of this demonstration, we are going to submit a trading card. Once you go to the next page here, there are different submission types for trading cards. We are just getting a card graded here, so we are going to go ahead and do the card grading. So this is where things start to look a little more complicated. You've got a lot of options here for a lot of different service levels, a lot of numbers happening, but we're going to break it down super simple, super easy. So essentially the service level that you select is going to be dictated by the value of those cards, which we just went ahead and evaluated. So this is an estimated value. This is 100% an estimate because you haven't gotten the cards graded yet. They want an estimation of the value of the graded card, which you of course do not know yet. And this is called a maximum insured value. It's essentially just like the maximum price that card will be insured at when it's in the hands of PSA and on the way back to you. So basically the estimated value of the card will also dictate, of course, the price per grade, and also in some cases the difference in the amount of time that it takes to get back to you. You'll notice here at the top there are a few value options for cards that are estimated at $500 or less. Once again, that's after the card has been graded. So if you've got a card that's less than $500, you can select one of these three. For Pokemon, you'd want to do this one. If you do want it back faster, you can of course select this one that's got the 20 business day turnaround. That's the only difference here. Personally, I would just stick with the regular value unless you like really need to get those cards back sooner, because the price is quite a lot more. As we continue to go down here, you'll see the price is just a little bit more for each of these options. Generally, the amount of time it takes to get back to you is lower, but the price is also higher. The cards that I have here to get graded actually fall under a few of the different service levels, so I am just going to select regular and just go through this submission process as if all of the cards are in the same service level. If you are sending in a bunch of cards, it might be helpful to make a spreadsheet. Here's an example of a very, very simple spreadsheet that one might make for a submission like this. So this is something that you can do to help you stay a little bit more organized and make filling out this form go way faster. Basically, you've got your card, what set it's from, what number it is in the set, which you can actually look at. You can look at here in the corner. So it's promo number 153 from the Scarlet and Violet promo. And then the year is down here at the bottom as well. That might also be helpful for you while you're typing in these cards into the submission form. So just so you know, that is where that information is. And all Pokemon cards will say the year at the bottom, and they will generally have the set either in this corner Or if you're sending in some older cards, they will be on this corner. And also on vintage cards, some of the sets appear here. So this is a Team Rocket set logo instead of in the bottom corner like on some of the modern cards. If you're wondering about that, that is where you'd find that information. So every single Pokemon card does have a set indicator of some sort and also a number in that set, just so you're aware. So you can just use that spreadsheet to quickly fill in this information. And if you've only got a card or two, it's not really necessary. But here we're gonna go ahead and look up the Pikachu promo. This is a traditional Chinese Pikachu promo card, number 153 in the Scarlet Violet promo set. So it came up really quick there. You can go ahead and include, if you're having trouble finding it on this list, go ahead and also include maybe the set name, any other indicators about the card, if it's a reverse foil, if it's an EX, anything like that. This one did happen to show up here when we entered in the set number and the Pokemon. This is something new that they actually just recently changed. One, they have changed the wording from declared value to maximum insured value. That's basically the estimate that we just came up with. But additionally, they also give you the option to customize it. It used to just be already there and you had to fill this in every single time. Okay, go ahead and save it. Our next card, so basically you're just gonna go through and fill in every single card that you have. I actually entered in all the information for the Umbreon card here and I actually cannot find it in PSA's database. Yeah, it's crazy. I literally don't see it on the list. So if this happens, you can actually just go ahead and add it manually. So we got our Umbreon VMAX here and we can change that. You can also just opt to not do this and it'll all just default to the maximum value. They make it easy now. Also, don't forget to check the set number and the set when you're going through this as well, because as you can see, we've got, even in our stack here, we got 2 Dark Dragonites. There's a bunch of different options for Dark Dragonite here. So just go ahead and confirm that you've got the right one selected, because sometimes Pokemon does reprint a card as a promo or they print it with a different foil or something. So just once again, double check there, save. And then for the sake of this video, that's how you go ahead and enter those cards in there. I actually have 2 additional cards that fall under a different service level than this one. You can go ahead and fill out another submission form, a separate form after this at the service levels that these are at. You can also put them all on the same submission, and those individual cards that are valued more, after they get graded, you will just get charged for the higher service tier for that. But we're gonna go ahead and submit them on the same one. My professional opinion would be to submit them separately under their corresponding categories. My personal opinion is I'm too lazy. So we entered all of our cards here. We're gonna go ahead and proceed to checkout. Once again, the rate that it has selected for us here is for cards that have a maximum insured value at $1,500 or less per card after it's graded. So you've got a few options here when it comes to shipping it to PSA. You can either get a prepaid label made that's already ready to go. You just slap it on the package. You can ship it yourself. That's everything on your own. Or you can drop it off at a PSA event. They do a lot of events at conventions. We were just at New York Comic Con where they had a booth where you could submit cards. They do drop off events at various card stores and card shows. So keep an eye out for that. They have a whole event schedule that shows all of that. So you can click that if you want to just drop it off in person. I'm going to go ahead and opt to ship it on my own. I think their recommended option of creating a label for you is definitely the more convenient route. So with that one, they'll literally just make the label for you and then you just put it on your package. But of course, that's totally up to you how you want to ship it out. And I will say that their insurance does cover your cards once they are at PSA and on their way back, but going to PSA, you should definitely buy insurance on your package. So that part is on you, so definitely get insurance on that package when you're shipping it to PSA. After the cards get graded, you can either send them to the vault, sell them on eBay, or you can ship them back to you. So we're gonna go ahead and ship those cards back to us. Got all of our information in there. There's also a few different options for the return shipping. You can either do insured shipping or FedEx. We're gonna go ahead and do the insured shipping. I think that's fine. So go ahead and enter in your payment information, fill out your credit card info down there. This is where you would enter in your coupon code to get $25 off of your submission. Once again, this is for first time PSA submitters. So you can go ahead and use the coupon code Danny25. I'll also have that in the description along with links and all sorts of stuff once again to go through everything in this video. Shout out PSA. We're gonna go ahead and hit review order, and this is where you're just going to confirm that everything looks good. It should just be all the information that we just saw. So just go ahead, double check, everything looks good. You can go ahead and place your order. And now it's time to move on to the next step, which is getting our cards ready to go ahead and ship off to PSA. Okay, so I've gone ahead and accumulated the supplies, all of them that one might need to go ahead and submit their cards through the mail. So a quick breakdown here. We've got packaging supplies such as packaging tape, scissors, check. We've also got the safety devices for your cards. We've got the clear card sleeves and the semi-rigid card holder. You can also do the card saver ones. Anything that is like this. You see, like one of these guys. Like this. Really nice. I'll also find like some Amazon links and put them in the description. Or you can just, I would type in either card saver 1 or semi-rigid card holder 1. Then we've got 2 pieces of cardboard. Really nice cardboard there. We've got rubber bands, we've got bubble wrap, and we've got a box big enough to fit Pokemon cards. So we've got our cards here. I do already have them in the clear card sleeves, but if they weren't, I would go ahead and put them in some clear card sleeves, and we'll go ahead and get our card holders out here. If you got some brand new ones, I like to do one of these. Loosen them up a little bit, make sure nothing's stuck together. Ooh. So the reason why you'd want to use card savers or the semi-rigid card holders like this is because in top loaders, your cards could possibly move around a little bit in shipping. With these, they are pretty much guaranteed to stay in place. So you can go ahead, slide your cards in there. And with something like this too, you don't have to like jam it all the way to the bottom of the protector. It's not gonna, once it's in there, like it's not gonna move around or anything. So you're just good however you set it in there. And I know it can feel kind of scary pushing the card in there, but just, you know, go slow, be careful. Careful, SpongeBob. Very gentle. I'm not even gonna lie to you. This is quite literally my least favorite part is sliding them into these card savers because it's so scary. If you're feeling anxious for this step, just know you're not alone. Okay, so upon completing your order, you should have been prompted to print out your submission form. So go ahead and print that out. If you don't have a printer, go to Staples, do whatever you gotta do. But you're gonna need to include this inside of the package, but also you can use it right now to reference to make sure that all of our cards are in order. So just make sure, double check with that submission form that every single card is in the order that you've submitted it. So we've got all of ours there in the correct order. So that's good. We can then take our fancy schmancy pieces of cardboard and basically we're gonna sandwich our cards inside of the cardboard sandwich. And this is why we have our little fun arts and crafts. We have rubber bands. You'll only need a couple rubber bands. Don't go too crazy with rubber bands. There's so many. Why are there so many different sizes here? What the heck? Just enough to make sure that they stay in place. I would say 1 or 2 on each side. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but whatever feels right. All right, this feels like they're not going to move around. If you want to put more rubber bands, I'm not going to stop you. All right, so now we got our little cardboard and shiny cardboard sandwich. It is now time to put them in the box. This is just to make sure they are as safe as they can possibly be when getting to PSA. So I'm just gonna bubble wrap to my heart's desire. Bubble wrap bag of bubble wrap. And now we just set it in our box. So that's it. Just make sure that it's safe in there. It's not moving around. That should do the trick. One other thing you need to make sure you include in there is those submission forms that you printed out. So go ahead, fold those up, put your submission form in there as well. Once again, we checked that everything was in order. We got them all packaged up, all wrapped up. And then the last thing here would be to cut out this submission ID label that you're actually going to adhere to the outside of the box. So take this, kind of do one of these. Yeah, nice. And then just cut the tape. Yoink. Okay. Done deal. Easy peasy. That's literally it. So now that you've got this, you're going to want to take it to the post office, take it wherever you're going to ship it. I opted for the one where I actually do the shipping on my own. I would just say that no matter what shipping option you do choose, make sure you get insurance on it so that it is covered throughout every step of the process. That'll put your mind at ease. Then you just have to wait for them to come back. You can actually check the status of your cards as they are going through the grading process. So as they go through the research, the grading, the quality checks, the assembly of the slab, you'll actually be updated on that online. So feel free to look there if you're wondering where your card is in the process. So we're gonna stop by the PSA headquarters and chat with a TCG specialist about all the nitty-gritty details of what goes into card grading, any myths or misconceptions about grading your cards, and some actionable tips on card grading that can help you guys get some higher grades on your very next submission. So it's all stuff that I think is going to be really, really valuable. I will note that for the sake of this video, we did get a special exemption, I guess, to go ahead and drop off our cards in person. If you're watching this and you're going through the whole process, you will need to either ship your cards in the mail or drop them off at an official PSA event. They do not currently accept submissions like in person on a random day, so do not try to just go to their office and drop off your cards. Do send them in the mail. So I am here with Roxanne, a TCG specialist here at PSA.
Hey everybody, I'm Roxanne Gezi. I'm Senior TCG Specialist. I work with multiple departments at PSA, all things TCG and authenticity, so it's great to be here. Thank you for having me. So we have our office in Japan, we have our office here in Santa Ana, and then we also have our office in New Jersey. So across all of our offices, we grade over 1 million cards every month. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's 1 million cards?
Yeah, over 1 million cards every month.
When it comes to grading, what are some of, in your opinion, the most overlooked flaws that you might see on a trading card? Mostly
for Pokemon, you get into like surface scratching. People miss that a lot, especially on reverse foils. As you know, you breathe on those things and they scratch. On top of that, there's also centering. Centering goes into a card's grade. So some people miss centering and it can be really tough to see that. So definitely I think those two are the most overlooked. Print lines, that's another one.
Print line, yo, can we talk about print lines?
I know.
Can you explain that? So actually, I think this is a good point. Can you please explain what a print line is?
Yeah, so a print line is a factory defect that happens typically in like the older Pokemon sets. You'll see a lot of it, especially Legendary Collection is so famous for that. And so print lines happen. They're a normal part of the printing process, even though they shouldn't be, but they tend to run in a straight line, either horizontally or vertically on a card. And so they do distract from the quality of the card. So unfortunately, they do affect the quality.
What are some tips that you might have for people who are trying to send in their cards and they're trying to get the highest grade possible?
Look at the centering, the surface, the corners, the edges. Those are the things that we verify in the grading room. You know, I use a jeweler's loop. This is the one that I like. Everyone has their favorite. Some of them have rulers in them as well. Some even have lights, and some of them even have UV lights. So you can get them with like all of them. It's really cool. So I would use like a loop or a magnifying glass. Don't get too close, you'll see my pores.
Wow, you have great skin.
Thank you. But yeah, definitely I would use a jeweler's loop. I mean, I use one. I really like using it, and you know, our room, as you know, is darker, and we use bright lights. And on a dark surface, it helps really kind of see those defects a lot easier. When you're looking at a card under convention room lighting, you know, it's not the nicest lighting. It's really tough to see defects. So I recommend always using a jeweler's loop and trying to look at it in a dark room under bright light.
Okay, yeah, that's great. That's actually a really great tip, because I think, yeah, if you're at a show or something and you're trying to look for a card that's in the best condition, it's like, all right, you're just looking at it in plain lighting. You can use your cameras or your phone's
camera's light.
Yeah, you can use your phone's light, but even then, it's like you have
tough.
A magnifying glass. And this, by the way, I don't know, you guys can't see, but there's like, it's down to the millimeter, right? A little ruler.
Yeah, a little ruler inside of it.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's crazy.
These things are really nice, yeah.
Yeah, I've never wanted to be a jeweler more in my life than right now. This is crazy. What tools do graders use to assess the cards, and then how is like the setup of like that grading area or grading chair? So
kind of like before I was saying, it's a darker room and we have bright lamps. Unfortunately, I don't have one in here, but they are very, very nice lamps. Like they're not cheap, and so they do cast a really nice light, and we use a dark surface, and that really helps us see all of the defects that might be on a card, as well as our handy dandy loop, and that can help us magnify any areas that need to be verified a little bit more carefully. And so yeah, that's pretty much centering, surface, corners, edges.
That's it.
Yep.
So we're here for an exclusive, behind the scenes. Do you have any grading myths that you would like to debunk?
Yes. So My first one is pop control. Let's talk about that. It doesn't exist. Everyone talks about pop control. We simply don't have the time to control pop. If we controlled the pop on cards, we would sit here with your order for 3 years. So pop control doesn't exist. It's not a thing that we consider. So that's definitely one of the biggest myths that people have. Another myth that people tend to think of is, or at least ask the question, right, is does the grader know my order, right? Or whose order is it, right? The graders do not know whose order it is. We have redundancies put in place so that nobody in grading knows whose order it is. They don't even know what region it came from. So there's no way that once your order enters grading that anybody's gonna know that it's your order, or even what country it's from.
Wow.
So that's one of the other myths I definitely would like to debunk.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's important too, because it's like there's so many different separate parts of the grading process.
Right.
And having like a distinct, person who's just grading and a person who's just researching, and there's no like overlap. Yeah.
Right, exactly. We have our checks and balances in place to make sure that that process is completely blind.
Debunking the myths here live.
Another myth that people have, or just at least a question, is like about declared value and like charging or more money for your order at the end of the process. And so the reason why we do this is for our max insured value. So it's really important when you're filling out your PSA submission that you add your declared value as accurately as you possibly can for insurance purposes. Insurance is extremely important while the card is not only in the building, but when it leaves the building, right? So we wanna make sure that we value cards correctly and that they have the right value because it protects you, protects us, protects your card. So it's really, really important to use the right service level and to insure your card for the max value and to what it's worth.
I think this comment has come up where it's like, okay, if in theory, you're doing the same service if you grade a card for $25 as if you grade one for $500. Like you're doing essentially the same service of grading a card. It's mostly based off of insurance purposes.
That's correct, yes. It does require a little bit more manpower when something is a little bit more of a higher value or a higher service level that has to move through the system a lot faster. Of course, cards that are higher value, we want to make sure we get it right. You know, we have a grade guarantee and it's really important for us to make sure that everything is accurate, whether your card is $5 or $5,000. But ultimately, the process is the same. But ultimately, cards that are valued at a higher level and sent in through a higher service level are going to move through that process faster. And again, we still want to make sure that we get it right.
Yeah, good to know. Good to know. I think that's an important question. Any other like general tips?
I'm trying to think. Collect Sylveon.
Collect Sylveon.
The best UV. You heard it here.
Are you sure you want to say that? Because then everybody's gonna snag all the Sylveons.
You're right. I think I just shot myself in the foot here.
I'm not peeking.
I'm gonna do them upside down in the
Hoping for 10s, obviously. I think there's at least a couple, hopefully, in here. This should be a 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go.
Ready? Do it.
Oh, let's go. We got the Gem Mint 10 Pikachu promo from this is an awesome promo card, by the way.
I love that card.
From the traditional Chinese 5th anniversary special gift box. All right, so the first one there, we got a Gem Mint 10, the Moonbryon Japanese. I had some concerns about this one.
Just do it, Rip the Band-Aid off.
No! No way! Dude, that's awesome! That's awesome! Oh, we got a Gem Mint 10!
That's
Are you kidding me?
Isn't that awesome?
Oh, it's fantastic! Oh, this is the best day. This is the best day ever. Sorry, I was out of the frame. This is the best day ever.
Didn't you pull this one?
Yes. So all of these cards actually I pulled at some point in my content creator journey. So these have all been like shown on the channel at some time.
That's
in the past.
amazing.
Wow. Oh my gosh. All right, here, other camera angle. Get a load of that. Whoa. Perfect.
Perfect card.
Okay, so this is the Dark Dragonite Legendary Collection. Oh, okay.
Any legendary collection card that gets a 9 and is a reverse foil and gets a 9, I feel like that's a win because those are very, very tough to 10.
100%. Yeah, I have to be happy with that. Dude, this is so awesome. I'm having flashbacks of pulling them like way back when out of the pack.
So
Dude,
awesome.
This is so good.
I can't believe you pulled that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this was sick. I'll have to see if I can find the clip and maybe put it in the video if I can find it. And these next two though are the big boys.
Yep. You ready?
Oh, I don't know. Okay, here I go. This is the Dark Dragonite, first edition from Team Rocket. Yo, You gotta be kidding me! Dude! Oh, I got a Gem Mint 10!
That is so amazing.
Oh my gosh! Yo, in the swirl, did you see a swirl on this one?
It's perfect.
Oh, that's a spicy meatball.
I love the swirls.
That's a spicy meatball. Oh, that's so awesome.
Wow.
My son, my boy. My boy!
On that dark Dragonite gang.
Dude, that's insane. Now, here it is. This right here. This is our Blaine's Charizard. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we go.
I'm telling you, I knew you'd be excited.
I'm breaking the studio set. Did I mess up the background? No, we're good. Oh my god.
Awesome.
Dude, let's go. This is great. Okay, I think
those are two heavy hitters right there. Those are big boys.
Bro.
That's awesome.
Don't talk to me for the rest of the day. I'm gonna be busy staring at my Gem Mint 10s. I got plans.
I would be too.
Dude, this is awesome.
Oh man, what a big hitters.
I really appreciate you guys taking the time.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It's always a pleasure.
Y'all, don't forget, drop a like on the video. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. We'll be sure to answer them. I'm going to send Roxanne to the comment section to start typing away. Hey, Roxanne,
I'll do my best.
Somebody has a question. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.